Welcome to the Social Life Podcast. I'm Deanna Miller, Marketing Director for Stark Social Media Agency. We do all kinds of fun stuff with social media marketing over there.
Help you make some money.
That guy over there.
This is Nathan Imhoff, the Creative Director.
I call him Nate because Nathan's just a weird name.
Hey.
I don't like Nathan. It's so serious.
Haters gonna hate, yo.
So serious sounding, like serious face. Anyway, last week we were talking about Instagram stories. This week we're talking about mind your manners on social media.
Yes, mind your manners. Don't be a jerk.
Yeah, don't be a jerk.
That's the long and short of it. Don't be a jerk.
Don't be a jerk. So we're done.
Yep.
Anyway, let's go home. Anyway, so in the news recently, there's been a lot of stuff. I'm not typically one to have an opinion about some of the things that go on when it comes to mean people on social media. I tend to just ignore it and be like,
Donald
no,
Trump?
just let it go away. But in Adweek, on Adweek recently, they published an article that was talking about, the level of social media harassment is what they were calling it. Let me find the article. So they were running some statistics. They put together a neat infographic about harassment on social networks. And it was really interesting to read. And it kind of got me thinking about all of the things that we've seen in the media. And we just want to talk about being a good social citizen today.
Right.
And yeah. So according to Social Times on Adweek, 63% of online harassment happens on Facebook, with the majority of that from other things that I read coming from Facebook groups. So it's really interesting to me because I am a member of a lot of different political Facebook groups because of our affiliation with some political candidates that we do work for that are awesome sauce. But I always find it interesting to scroll through even some of the mommy groups or the social media groups I'm a part of to see how people treat each other.
Right.
There's a lot of name calling and a lot of just mean-spirited nastiness.
Someone is wrong on the internet.
Right. Everybody.
You're an idiot for disagreeing with me.
Exactly. And I guess in terms of being business related, one of the things I talk about a lot in the webinars and trainings that we do is, if you're representing yourself as a business owner,
right,
you want to be careful of that, especially if your face is the business.
Yes.
You're like the head honcho of the business.
Right. If it says, you're some position at a company, a lot of times that reflects on that company. And if it's your company, got to watch out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that's one of the things is I'm looking at the statistics is, a lot of this stuff is things I don't deal with. Like they talk about like Tinder. I've never been on Tinder. Let's see. 79% of adults aged 55 through 64 are harassed online, experience political harassment. So that's interesting. I think that we're in a really heavily heated political climate right now with the presidential election being what it is. And I don't want to give what's his name or what's her name or any of those names any kind of airtime, even though Nate already did. I want to talk about some of the stuff and the things, the questions that come up, but I do want to touch on a couple articles. One of the things that keeps popping up in my feed is the recent brouhaha for the Ghostbusters. One of the stars of Leslie Jones was harassed on Twitter.
This just blew my mind, honestly. I'm how big of a Ghostbusters fan I am.
And I think Leslie Jones is hilarious.
Right.
I had not, and I'm going to be very honest, I had not heard of her before this.
Right.
Ghostbusters stuff. And because I don't watch SNL, I don't watch, any of those shows. I just don't. I haven't in a long time. Probably because I'm asleep before they're on. But, I hadn't heard of her, so I started to look her up. And I was like, she seems like a nice, funny lady,
right,
who got a pretty sweet break with this Ghostbusters stuff.
I think I don't even understand. Like, I'm a huge Ghostbusters fan. You know this. Like, it's my go-to movie. It's my moment of zen to watch Ghostbusters.
And Back to the Future.
And Back to the Future. And I've been very nervous about the new one because I heard that there was going to be a Fallout Boy, and I don't think that's the case. So I'm eventually going to watch it. I'm just warming up to it. But how you can be mad about or at someone for doing a movie, I don't even get it. Like, I get it. People were upset that it was all female cast. But it's like the things that people were saying to her weren't even really related to the movie. Right.
I mean, they were the article says that some Twitter user sent Jones, who is black, she's a funny lady, doesn't matter what her skin color is, she's a funny, talented lady, pictures of apes and monkeys and hurled insults at her. And then, somebody in a position of power at a conservative, what is it, a blog, conservative online. I don't even know how to say it.
Or whatever it is.
Brave.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this guy is known for his, kind of like slights that he throws at people on Twitter.
Well, right. He's very flamboyant. He's gay. He's conservative. So he sort of has a little bit of a Milo something. I forget what his name is. The guy is just a professional troll. Right. And he sort of orchestrated this attack on her and got everyone all riled up. And why they singled her out, I mean, it's flat. You got 4 women that did this, and why she was singled out, I can only say, it looks race motivated.
She was. I remember when it started because I started following her on Twitter because I think she's funny from my private personal profile. I started following her and I thought she was hilarious. But so, I started looking, and she was posting some funny things about not being able to find a dress, and she was kind of poking fun at the designers that she was really, mooning over. Because when you're a girl, you like a certain style of dress, and you see these, and they don't make them in your size, or they do, but you're like, that doesn't look good on me because it's my size.
I'll just take your word for it.
So she was, you know how it is. You know how it is when you're looking for a dress and you're like,
I don't know how it is.
Don't fit me.
I watch you do it.
I know you too much. And I'm like, it doesn't fit. Maybe if it twists this way. But so I remember, I started following her, and she was posting some funny stuff about this and that and whatever, and she's like, oh, trying on dresses, and she wasn't being mean about it, but I think she was doing it in a ha-ha poke fun way, they don't make it in my size, and people started to take her seriously, and I think it started to snowball off of that, right. It's your fault because you're a big what, and what the heck does that matter?
Yeah.
So anyway, this whole Ghostbusters hoopla has really got me thinking, and I've seen more and more articles popping up on abusive behavior on Twitter. And when push comes to shove, I mean, Twitter basically, they had so many people who reported the incidents that they end up banning this guy for life.
Right. And well, he had been put on probations before.
Yeah,
he had been,
a few times.
Banned for a week,
right,
a month or whatever, and now they're like, no, forever. Just go away.
Well, and it's funny to me because now he's on this media campaign going around being interviewed about being banned from Twitter. So he's getting more exposure, which still sucks because I think people who are professional trolls,
right. He'll just find a new avenue to troll.
This poor lady didn't do anything to anybody.
Right.
But then I was looking at all the other people that he harasses, and he literally does this. He starts with a tweet. And then he's got this gaggle of followers. I was looking at the screenshots from articles about things he's done in the past.
Right.
And he's, people, but then I noticed there's other people. I'm sorry, am I boring you?
I need more coffee.
Oh. There's other people on the interwebs that this is their thing.
Right.
They're shock bloggers is
right.
kind of what I've been reading. And I think it's so interesting having have started in the mommy blogger world, which now is just, I think it's called the lifestyle blogger because it encompasses everybody, right. Mommies and daddies and singles and what have you. Having have started there, I would never have thought to blog about somebody, to make myself famous and to shine negative light on their shortcomings or, disagreeing with them as a person.
Well, I mean, social media, it's a double-edged sword. It's been used to, overthrow governments, like what happened in Egypt, allowed all the people to talk, but it also has made the crazy cranks have, be able to multiply, like be able to pool together and, give the impression that they have more power than they do. And a lot of people just go right to, like if a business upsets them, right to just full on attack, because, it's in front of everybody. They're going to be embarrassed. So it's something that businesses do have to, they're probably going to experience at some point,
Right. You're going to get the negative backlash.
Right.
It's how you handle it.
Right.
That's really, I think the thing is like, Leslie Jones, I say poor lady, but she's amazing.
She's going to be all right.
She's kicking ass and taking names.
She's well off.
I find this as like such a good example of, the trolling, I guess, is what bugs me. But then it's like you see other people behaving badly. And I have another article that I want to talk about. But, she ends up taking a break from Twitter, So she's like, she's just basically like, hey, Twitter, thanks for your support, but I'm going to take a break. So she's basically put her social media life on hold. Even though being a comedian, being an actress, I think she's taking a break, even though that's where a lot of her bread and butter probably comes from for exposure to what she's doing. But as a business owner, you really want to be thoughtful about, you're totally allowed to have your political views. You're totally allowed to not like somebody who walks into your restaurant and think that they're a jackass. But it's how you handle that. We go back to things like, for example, Yelp reviews or Facebook reviews or Google reviews. People are going to not like what you do. They're going to not like your product. They might not even like you as a person.
Well, sometimes there's just people that there's just no pleasing them. I mean, that's just sort of part of the business. If you have a restaurant or you have something like that, they just come in and, sit there and immediately judge everything and feel like the more negative they say in their Yelp review, that makes them more powerful. People, so it's something you have to be able to navigate,
right,
and have a strategy for.
And it's funny because I'm saying this now, and somebody I was just saying what we were talking about next. A friend of mine was like, "Oh, good luck with the podcast," and I was like, "Oh," it reminded me of there was a blogger friend of mine who on Twitter was harassed by this same group of people, and it was just random. Like she has adopted 2 children. I want to say they're from Africa. I don't know if they're from here locally, but I believe that they had an experience where they volunteered with something, and that inspired them to, adopt 2 children and bring them here.
Right.
And, they're Anglo-Californians, and the children are Africans from Africa, and they're adorable. And they got a bunch of negative backlash on Twitter, basically saying that they were ruining our community and yada, 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 and all this stuff about like, they should move from Newport Beach because their, kind wasn't wanted. And when you start to look, we started to look at the profiles, because I remember you and I sat on the couch looking at it. None of the people were from California who were harassing them. So, you're going to see some negative people. You're going to come across a lot of different stuff. It's really how you handle it. And I want to encourage people, just when you're on social media, if you're a small business owner, you're a big business owner, you're working for a giant company, remember that they can use the internet to search your social profiles, and they have a lot of really sophisticated technology to find you,
right.
Even if your profile is private. So you want to be very careful about how you're representing yourself on social media, especially if you're looking to interview for a job or you're in a high-profile position, because even the smallest job in a big, high-profile company can be scrutinized like crazy. And if you want to be famous, like the guy from, however you pronounce it, Breitbart.
Yeah.
Booty Bart.
How do you say that, audio guru?
Breitbart. Breitbart.
Breitbart. Got it. It's like last week, Diptych.
Oh my gosh. Bless you. So we're talking today on the Social Life Podcast about minding your manners on social media. One of the things that I always recommend when I'm doing webinars or trainings, and Nate hears me say it over and over and over and over and
Yes.
over again,
So I'm going to get to hear it again.
Ad nauseum.
I'm excited.
You're excited. Come on. You love it when I repeat myself.
You love it when I repeat myself.
What? Can't hear you. But it's really important. We started out with the example of Leslie Jones and how she was harassed on Twitter. And a bunch of people jumped in, and there was actually, in a couple different articles I read, people who got fired for their participation in it. So you really want to pay attention to your social presence. And if you're working a job where you have a contract or you're under some sort of clause in terms of, how you behave and how you act. Social media is public. And if your company can find it and track you down, then it's definitely something that they can use to fire you if you represent their brand.
Right.
That's one of the other things is you really want to be careful about is, don't do it if you don't want to get fired.
Right.
Maybe check your clauses. I don't mean Santa Claus. I mean clauses and whatever your employment contract is.
It's like that one lady that the tweet she was going to Africa and about the AIDS. Remember?
Oh my god!
She basically had like people lose their mind. I mean, what she said was she was joking, but it was inappropriate. It was racist.
There was another tweet that I'm going to share after the break that made me go like, "What?" That just made me think about it. So I hope I don't forget it. What? I'm Deanna Miller with the Social Life Podcast. We're talking about a little bit of serious stuff today. I'm sorry. Go grab a beer.
You might need it.
You might need it. Just do some shots or something because this is kind of serious. But we're having fun, I guess, talking about minding your manners on social media. Nate Imhoff is with me as always, creative director.
Yes.
He's actually talking through this podcast, so you guys must be excited.
Well, whatever.
You can hear his voice.
Yay.
You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Stark Social.
Barely.
Facebook.com/StarkSocial. We're also on YouTube. You can search. You can search. Search Stark Social Media Agency.
We have not been drinking.
YouTube. No, all I've had is coffee. Dang it.
It's kicking in.
We'll be back after the break. Go grab something to drink. Make it the hard stuff. I don't know. Whatever you want. Just make sure if you're driving, you pull over, hop in the trunk, and we'll be right back.
My parents run the best social media company around. Go to starksocial.com today.
One, two, three, four.
Welcome back to the Social Life Podcast. I'm Deanna Miller. I promise we haven't been drinking this morning. We haven't had mimosas in a long time.
No, maybe we'll get some later after this.
Okay. I still have to go pick up that chair, though.
Okay. Just having a conversation. You guys are just along for the ride.
In case you were wondering. I'm getting a new office chair.
She's excited.
I'm really excited.
So there you go.
Because it was like bought and unboxed and put together, and no one used it.
Oh, hey.
I'm excited.
We got a deal.
I'm sorry. We're talking about...
This is an unusual show.
This is kind of we're just kind of talking today. We generally cover some pretty targeted topics, and we're talking about minding your manners on social media. Nate is
giving you some bad examples.
Nate is with me as always. We're pointing out some really tough to swallow examples of people just being... I don't know, what's the asshats on social media?
Yeah, it's like everyone gets into these social media wars, depending on the topic, and everybody, you have people that are super politically correct, then you have people who just get off on doing something to, set everyone off, and it's retarded. As a business, you can't be involved in this sort of thing.
No, you can't.
You just
But like, I remember I'm messaging on Facebook with a friend of mine. Like, we're talking about it. Like, when Facebook and Twitter became a thing, it was like a fun place
right.
to like hang out with your friends that you went to college with and reminisce about, like, 2 a.m., crawling walks of shame.
Walks of shame.
Like, oh my gosh, you remember that time? And then it's like, here's a picture of you. Ha ha ha. The internet is forever. But it's that kind of stuff. Like, it was a fun place.
Right.
Like, I jumped on it because I started a blog. And so I was on a blog. I was on Twitter because of blogging. And Facebook, I was on Facebook because I was old enough to be a part of the beta testing when they were releasing it to colleges. So if you back in the day,
when it was the Facebook,
you had to have a functioning registered college email address
right
to join, and they had to be able to verify your college email address. And so that's how old I am. But when I got on the Facebook, it was to talk to people I knew from different colleges and people I went to high school with or met at summer camp, those types of things. But so we're talking about some really bad examples. And I know that the addition of social marketing to things like political campaigns and like high profile branding campaigns, we're seeing a lot of more bad behavior from people in high positions and also low positions. Before the break, Nate and I were chitter-chattering about Ghostbusters star Leslie Jones being harassed on Twitter.
Yep.
And how it got that ding-dong, what's his name?
Milo,
Milo.
whatever his name.
He's got like the weirdest hair. It's like white.
It works for him.
I guess. Anyway, so Nate had mentioned a tweet that was, what was the tweet that you mentioned?
Oh, she said, like, I'm going to Africa and, I hope I don't get AIDS. Just kidding. I'm white or something like that, or I'm not black, or he said something like that. And just, it set off Twitter. I mean, it was crazy. She's on this flight for like 8 hours from like the United States to South Africa.
Right.
And just everyone is going crazy. They're starting to find her family. They're starting to threaten them, all over this. And she basically landed and was like, I think she got fired like in this short period of time.
Right, because she was going there for work.
Right.
And then she gets off the plane and she's got a like notice of termination in her email and like get back on the plane. You don't get to stay there no more.
Right.
So it reminded me of a tweet that happened, right? I think it was a tweet. Yeah. So this waitress from a Texas Roadhouse, right? So she was fired over a racist tweet that she posted. What was it? She said, let's see, if there was, I can't read it without laughing. Wait, where'd it go? Now it's gone. Oh, if we had a real life purge, I would kill as many Mexicans as I could in one night. # learn how to tip.
Wow.
Yeah, she's a waitress.
Wow.
So
that blows my mind.
That's where I'm saying, like, people in high positions, right? This guy obviously makes like a really good salary being a professional troll as a big, huge public figure. And then here's this lady who no one would have ever met her. And she lost her job over it because she tweeted it during work hours.
Right.
So that's how they got her.
When you do that, it's like you can delete a tweet, but the thing is everyone's going to screenshot it and you're going to end up on a blog. So and now employers are always Googling you.
Right.
So now there's all these blogs out there about her racist tweet and that's going to follow her for pretty much ever.
I mean, and I laugh because it's funny to me because I am always on my best behavior on social media because I teach people how to be on social media.
Right.
And so for me, it's like...
It's funny when you have some of your clients that you're close with on a personal level, and then they're they'll post stuff of pictures of them having a bit too much fun.
Oh my gosh. The funny thing is people don't realize how serious they have to take social media. When you put your face on your business or you associate who you are with your business, it's like... that's who you are. So if you're going to be, say anything person, then you've got to own that.
Right.
I'm say anything person. like some people we know.
We do know some people.
Looking at you over there, Mr. Audio Guru. But own it and be the say anything person. But you can't constantly be living in a world of backtracking to cover your tracks or to make up for things that you said. You know, this waitress publicly turns around and said, you know, I'm sorry. You know, her apology was, I wrote hurtful, inconsiderate, insensitive, and careless words, and I understand the amount of people I have offended by that. There are no excuses for what I have done. I sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, apologize to everyone for my momentary lack of judgment. I want you all to know that I do not actually feel this way. So I get it when you work in a high-stress job. Being a server, customer service of any kind is super frustrating, probably on a regular basis, especially, you know, when it's a busy night and your livelihood depends on tips and things like that. But you really have to think about, especially if your job has a policy of, you know, no cell phones at work, or like it's on your, you know, use it on your break. But she literally got done with the table, walked to the kitchen and tweeted this.
Wow.
I'm going to say that's probably not a good idea.
No.
So in moments of frustration, because I have them just like everybody else, there's sometimes I want to tweet things about my clients when they frustrate me, or my son when he frustrates me, or the guy sitting across from me when he frustrates me.
Never.
No, never. Everybody's
Never.
angels in my life. You just have to think about what you're doing before you do it. And really put it into perspective of, you know, if you've associated with your name and somebody can Google you to find you.
The all-seeing eye of God, Google.
The interwebs is forever. That also reminds me of the Axl Rose, like, wants to sue Google
Oh,
for the
jeez.
fat pictures still being Google
He's
image
such an
search.
idiot. And
No one will
I
take
love
his-
Guns N' Roses, but seriously, dude, like,
No one will take his case.
that guy he's a troll. He has to fight with someone. If it's not his own band, you know, it's someone else. Tommy Hilfiger, you know, now you're really gonna try to fight Google?
Well-
like, if anything, you're making it worse.
But I remember the whole, like, Tommy Hilfiger's been in the news a lot, though, in the last, like, he's had a lot of bad press.
I don't really pay attention to him.
I know you don't.
You know about all the stuff. You're always
I
like,
do, because
I'm always shocked if I get a story like, have you heard, and you haven't, I'm like, woohoo!
Yeah, I know. You're
'Cause-
like, did you see this thing? And I'm like, that's so 3 days ago.
I know.
Catch up. Catch up, please.
I'm like all shocked. Oh, what? She's like, I was shocked 3 days ago.
I already read
Thanks for
and
catching up.
Facebook shared that. Thanks for paying attention to my blog. So one of the other things that I found online that I thought was really funny. Well, I mean, I think it's funny because we work with a lot of politicians, various levels, school board, city council, senators, congressmen. You know, I could name drop all day long, but I won't.
Don't be that guy.
I don't want to be that guy. Well, maybe we'll do a podcast about that guy. I don't know. But working with a lot of political campaigns, we often represent the political campaign or the politician on social media. And so we have to be very thoughtful and very careful about the things that we post. A lot of the content has to be pre-approved by the politician beforehand. So, you know, I have never actually worked for a political organization, let's say, Riverside County GOP. If anybody knows what I'm talking about, stop me. Okay. So recently somebody who worked in the Riverside County GOP office decided that he was going to go onto their Twitter account rather than putting it on his own personal Twitter account, and posted a very not so nice negative picture. And he was not fired, but he was asked to resign. And I think it's kind of the same thing. If you're representing, so if you're a social media professional, if you're a marketing professional, and you're running somebody's business's social media campaign, my biggest thing is your opinions are not theirs. Even if you disagree with whatever they have to say, it's not your job to right or wrong.
So the thing is he worked for the State Board of Equalization.
Yeah. I'm getting more details.
It wasn't even related to his position with the Riverside GOP. It was, he had a government job.
Right.
And he basically had to step down from it because of this.
Right, but it
this
was the
tweet.
official Twitter account for the Riverside County Republican Party
Right.
that he had access to.
And he was the one who published it. So the tweet was it was a picture of a bloody
A hangman.
hangman,
Right.
and it said, "I'm ready."
And he's standing
for
on the
Hillary.
noose thingy,
Right.
whatever you call that stuff.
Gallows.
Yeah, gallows. That's that's the word for
So
it.
we'll just grab it. We'll put a link on the notes.
Yeah, if you want to see it, I find it amusing because the thing is like when you work for politicians or political campaigns or political organizations, you might not always agree with the messaging.
Right.
And that's fine, but it's not your job to put your views out there.
Right.
Regardless of if it's a restaurant or a tanning salon or whatever it is that you're representing as a social media expert or a marketing person, or maybe you're the manager of the restaurant and you've been asked
Well, we
to
had-
manage the social media.
You got to think about that stuff. I mean, we had the active Instagram post. Remember, active in Valencia.
Oh, right, locally here,
I trolled them a little bit because we're
a lot of people.
well, but our office is only like
A minute away.
Because I said like, hey guys, you need some help.
Yeah,
Because so they tweet this picture of this kid with a
it's Instagram.
Instagram, yeah. So they put this picture and it says pigs, but it's supposed to look like cops,
Right.
like the same letter from the cop show.
Right.
And they take pictures in front of like there was a cop car or a sheriff's car behind them, and then there was another one where they did it with the highway patrol car like in a parking lot, and just people lost their mind. And it was such a, I mean, it's one thing to carry this sort of shirt, but now you're projecting a political view essentially.
Right. Well, I
Disrespect
think-
towards law enforcement.
I think if they had done it
As a brand.
in a more fun, tongue-in-cheek kind of way,
Right.
and not so blatantly like "F you, police,"
Right.
it would have been like, "Ha funny. That's kind of snarky, cute." Like,
It's like, I bet you call the cops if you get robbed.
If the guy had been in the store holding a stuffed pig, we all would have gotten
Right.
the twist on the shirt without the blatant like I'm standing in front of a cop car
Right.
next to the Chick-fil-A across the street from the store. Like we
Right.
all knew where it was.
Right.
Like you clearly had Chick-fil-A for lunch and were like, this is going to be funny.
Man.
And no one thought it was funny.
No, it wasn't funny.
No one thought. And it's funny because we all grow up. Like I grew up in a town that was a small suburban town back in the day.
Right.
But now it's big and movie studios and stuff. But we used to make funny songs about the local police officers
Popo.
and stuff. And, I could sing the song for you, but I won't.
It's
But you grow up with a certain amount of respect
Right.
for law enforcement because when, shit hits the fan, who's going to help you?
well, in the case of where we're at in Santa Clarita, we live in a tinderbox, so this place is always on fire half the time.
Yeah.
And it's the sheriffs that come and they're the ones that are going to help you, get out of your house. I mean, we saw hundreds of stories of people, on social media helping, the police helping people like load their stuff and help save their animals. And then, that's actually, I'm working on having the sheriff media people come on and talk about social media in a crisis situation.
Right.
Because I was in utter amazement. Some of it renewed my faith in like humanity in general. I was very impressed.
No, absolutely. And I think that that's really at the core of it is you really just have to be thoughtful about what you're doing, what you're posting, who you're posting it about. Think about your audience. I mean, the fact of the matter is we've given you some pretty funny examples that are funny to us in hindsight, but at the time, the people who are doing the tweeting or the posting or the Instagramming thought it was a good idea. And some of them have lost their jobs. Some of them have been banned from Twitter. It's just a matter of you think about who you're representing and whether it's your business specifically or a business that you're tweeting or posting for, make sure that you're posting in line with the brand, that you're keeping it
Tasteful.
tasteful. Oh
That's
my
the word.
gosh. Let's just put
That's
that
the key word.
in all caps. Tasteful.
Yes.
Yeah. So we've just had a fun show talking about minding your manners on social media. Just kind of a fun side show, I guess.
Yeah, we did really.
Sideshow Bob.
We just sort of pointed and said, "Don't do this."
Don't do it. I mean, I could sit here and give you a list of things not to do, but I think it's
Right.
pretty much common sense. We are the Social Life Podcast. I'm Deanna. He's Nate. We talk about social media. Sometimes we talk about the stuff he does. Not really that often, though.
We're working on some of that.
My stuff's more fun to talk about.
Sometimes.
Yours is like, go here, click here, do that.
Are you putting what I do down?
No. I love what you do. But just be careful on social media, guys. If you're looking for more tips and ideas, we're working to update our blog. I promise. We've just been really busy. Go to starksocial.com for quick tips and blogs. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, thesociallifepodcast.com. You can find us on all of the social media channels at Stark Social on Instagram and Twitter, facebook.com/StarkSocial, YouTube channel, search Stark Social Media Agency. If you have any questions about the best way to manage your social media presence, if you want to talk to me, I do free consultations. So you can email us at hello@starksocial.com with your questions, comments, concerns, ideas for future podcasts, things you don't want us to talk about anymore. Whatever hits your mind.
Just don't try to bully us on social media.
Yeah, don't do it. I will find you.
I will ninja chop you.
I will Google you. I promise. All right, that's it for today. We hope you enjoyed our fun banter about minding your manners on social media. Don't forget to check out the previous podcasts. We're talking about a lot of stuff from Instagram to Facebook to YouTube to Pinterest to whatever else is out there. And if we're not covering a topic, don't forget to email us. I'm Deanna. He's Nate. We're going to go have drinks, I think. Right?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. We're going to go drink. All right. You guys.
Not while we drive, though.
Not while we drive. We'll get in the trunk. Thanks so much for joining us this time on the Social Life Podcast. We will be back next time covering something. I'm not sure what, but we're going to talk about probably something social media related. Wow.
Well, we have a list.
Hashtag punch drunk. All right. Thanks so much. We will be back next time on the Social Life Podcast. Don't forget to share it with your friends.
Later.
Okay, lady. I love you. Bye-bye.
Oh, my heart.